On or not. Morning, Lynn. Greg, we have you on the agenda right now, so you're up.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chair, as well as the rest of the council. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Perfect. I guess it's my first time this year, so congratulations to all the new council members, as well as the renewed council members. Today, I'll give you a little background on why we're here, and then I'll have Craig and Brian Upton provide any either technical expertise you may have or answer any questions that way, or Brian can answer any legal concerns. So in 2008, we purchased about 33 acres from Hildegard Firestone up along the Jocko River. And when we purchased it, we used Bonneville Power funds. So since we used BPA funds to acquire the property, we had to place conservation easement on it. The staff, Craig and Seth and others, have been working with the BIA to upgrade the K Canal diversion structure, which is partially located on this property. And as such, because of the ground disturbing activities, it's technically inconsistent with the terms of the conservation easement. Bonneville Power obviously supports the project because it's obviously good for fish, which is why we purchased the property in the first place. But to acknowledge the fact that we're going to do ground disturbing activities and build something within the conservation easement area, we need to do what's called a land use agreement with Bonneville. This isn't the first one that we've done with Bonneville. We did one, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 years ago on the Shaw property when the South Valley Creek Bridge was constructed. So we had to do one at that time as well. So unless there's any questions on the background, I'll turn you over to Craig or Brian to answer, add anything that they can add to the discussion.
Any questions on the background by council? I think everybody's pretty familiar. Go ahead, Craig or Brian.
I'll defer to Brian unless there are fish specific or structure upgrade specific questions on that.
Don't see any at this time. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to, point out on page 8 of your packet, there is some language that provides that if there's any damage done, basically to the values of the conservation easement, that BPA can repair it and can basically charge the cost against the tribes unless the work was done in furtherance of basically the FIP easement or is otherwise a federal responsibility. And that's what we're dealing with here. So I don't really think there's any risk here, but I wanted to point that out and see if anyone from council had any questions. I'll just also add that this, I think, is somewhat of a boilerplate document the BPA uses for these types of work on conservation easements. We worked with them to make sure this document reflected that their conservation easement is junior to the federal government's easement for FIP purposes. So they accepted all our revisions. We're comfortable with the document, but just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of this and see if anybody had any questions.
Any questions, Brian? But I did have one as far as the term of it. Is it a long enough period for it?
Defer to Craig on that. I think we've covered that with BPA.
Yes, we actually did extend this term because the project has been delayed primarily by permitting. And I think we're comfortable with this. And then we just have to notify them within prior to 10 days before initiating any construction. And I guess I might add too that we will probably be seeking council's signature on a similar agreement for another project that's up and coming. And that's the lower J canal.
Okay, thank you. Anita?
Just a quick question. In talking with legal, I don't know, a week or so back, they were saying, are we gonna have problems in putting this property into trust with this kind of an easement, or would that prevent it in any way?
This property is in trust now.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
are we supposed to be live streaming?
I believe we can for this. Yes. We
Okay.
will be going into executive shortly, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the proposed land use agreement with Bonneville Power for Firestone property to complete the Jocko K Canal project?
Motion to send a letter, Mr. Chair. Is that what you need?
Motion
Lynn?
to approve the agreement? Is that what we need? Approval?
Yep.
Okay. Motion by Carol, second by Jimmy. All those in favor? I think we have a unanimous, being out of the room. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Craig. Brian. Okay, now we'll need to move into